So after my little mime presentation, I hope you realize I was pretending to drive. But I'm actually not doing this video because I'm trying to teach you to drive, but of course, exercise. Hi, my name is Eric Daw, and the reason why I pretended to drive was your car can reveal three main areas that really highlight or reveal certain weaknesses or deficiencies in your body. So we're gonna go through three things and how your car highlights them and what you can do to work on them. But as I like to say, let's get into it. So unfortunately, I drove without putting my seatbelt on. I don't know if you folks realize that, but before you drive, I would suggest you put on your seatbelt. And how do you do it? First off, you're gonna reach behind you or reach across you, grab it, and then you pull it across your body to buckle it. Typically, if you're gonna grab it with the hand that's closest to the seatbelt, you have to reach behind. What I notice as people get older, they tend to have shoulder issues, or in particular or specifically, rotator cuff issues. So when you have to reach behind you by turning your body, that means typically you have a hard time with range of motion in your shoulder, reaching behind you, grabbing and pulling it back. So what would I suggest you do in a situation if you have a rotator cuff issue, not necessarily just for your seatbelt, but in general? So we're gonna go through an exercise right now. So the first thing I have you do is find a door frame. I know you don't live outside, I'm assuming. So find a door frame, and when it comes to your rotator cuff, put your hands on your door frame. And once you have it here, my elbows are on my door frame, my hands are on it, lean through. What this exercise does is gets you to open your chest up and bring your shoulders back. Typically, when people have issues with their shoulders and they have poor posture, this is something that would be really good and helpful for them. You can hold this for about 30 seconds, 60 seconds. You should feel a nice gentle stretch in the front of your shoulders and your chest. This should help after a period of time get you to put that seatbelt on a little easier. So I don't know about you, but have you ever driven a car and never had to switch lanes? And what do you do when you switch lanes? You have to signal, but you also have to check in your blind spot. Unless you got one of those fancy new cars where the side mirror tells you if someone's in your blind spot. But if you're old school like me and probably old school like you gotta turn that head or turn that body to be able to check your blind spot. What I notice with a lot of people as they get older, they lose that ability to turn and rotate without actually moving their entire body. So they have a hard time turning their spine or turning their trunk. Typically, this also highlights a range of ability they've lost through their thoracic spine or turning. This also actually contributes to them being able to get that range of motion in their shoulders. So what exercise can you do if you have a hard time checking in that blind spot or rotating in your body? Well, I'm about to show you. So the first thing I'm gonna have you do is find some open space. I'm gonna have you lie on one of your sides, and typically if you're gonna do a quad stretch, you grab your top leg. But I'm actually gonna have you grab with your top hand, your bottom leg, and then you're gonna stretch the quad of the bottom leg. So if you need to grab your shoe, your pant leg, whatever it is, you're gonna try to make sure you're stretching the bottom thigh or the bottom quad. Your knee, your hip, and your shoulder should be in a nice straight line. With the hand that you still have free, you're gonna put it on the side of your leg, on the top leg, and you're gonna rotate as you stretch the leg. You're gonna pull this leg down and bring and open your chest up. What this really does is, one, it stretches the quad, and it also really stretches and opens your chest up and gets you to increase that range of motion you have in your spine. So this exercise is actually called a bretzel. You can actually feel it stretch all the way from your bottom leg, the hip, the spine, and you can feel your chest opening up as you're trying to face your body as far forward as possible. So I don't know about you again, but have you driven a car for hours on time and you get out? What do you normally feel? Well, if you're like me, you feel your hips, your back, your lower back is really tight. Typically, a lot of times when people say they have low back pain, it's because they have tight hips from a lot of sitting. And what do you do in a car? You sit and you sit and you sit. So what are something you can do if you have a low back pain or you sit in a car that really highlights that low back pain? So I'm about to show you. So the first thing you can do, obviously you're not gonna do this in your car because you're not gonna have enough space, but find a bench, a box, a couch, a chair, and sit on it sideways. We're gonna take the outside leg and bring it as far behind us, bring our upper body tall, and you should feel a stretch right in the front of your thigh, front of your hip. Typically when you sit, you're doing the complete opposite of this. This actually is the thing that's doing the opposite of sitting, which is opening your hips up, which need to be open because when we're in a seated position, we're in a very short hip position. So if you have low back pain, particularly from sitting in a car or otherwise, try this stretch, 20 seconds, 30 seconds, and of course, both sides. So I hope after watching this video, you will never look at driving or cars the same. It does highlight things, but it also highlights things you can work on. Regardless of what age you are, it's important to make sure our hips aren't tight, our shoulders aren't a problem, and we have great movement through our spine. On that note, my name is Eric Daw, and please like and subscribe to this video. It would be greatly appreciated. On that note, take care.